Hi there, it's me again. So this time I'd like to talk about competitiveness and why this matters and why it's so important for our course. There's a small slide deck. This talk is much shorter than the previous one. So what are our challenges? What's the problem we're trying to address here? Well, as I mentioned in the big talk, we're falling in our competitive position around the world. And one of the examples of that is the most recent IMD World Competitiveness ranking placed us 12th out of 63. Just 20 years ago, we were 5th. And on the World Economic Forum scale, we ranked 16th out of 141 countries in 29, down from 10th. So things are not looking great. And one of the implications of this is that it has an impact on human development, both the social and economic development of people and communities, but also our health development and other kind of things. So we now rank 31st out of 109 countries, down from 4th just 20 years ago. So what's shaping all this? Why is this kind of happening? Well, if you look at the more detailed analysis in both the IMD and World Economic Forum analysis, we have high levels of taxation and regulation relative to some other jurisdictions. The bigger issues are lack of investment in infrastructure, an old infrastructure, transport, broadband, bridges, all sorts of aspects of infrastructure, water, the electricity grid. But we also don't do great in R&D. In fact, we lag in R&D on all sorts of measures. We have high levels of debt relative to some other jurisdictions, a lot less than many others, but it's still high, particularly corporate debt, and particularly personal debts, household debts. And we're short of close to 1 million skilled workers, and the prospects for skilled workers doesn't look good. The number of people joining the skills trades as apprenticeship is in steady decline, and performance of that system is really, really poor. So these are a number of factors, but there are some more. We have high cost of living, especially in some key places with high housing costs like Vancouver and Toronto. Many small companies will complain about the lack of access to venture capital, to small and medium sized venture firms that could support the next stage of their growth. This kind of stunts the ability of companies to move from small to medium, from medium to large, and from large to huge. We don't have a lot of those transitions. Some industries, particularly air travel and telecommunications, have very, very little competition and actually getting less competition. So these sectors are kind of prone to stagnation and lack of investment in innovation and development. We're still very strongly reliant on commodity experts, and that leads to volatile pricing and to volatile revenues for jurisdictions like Alberta. And in some regions of Canada, we haven't really diversified the economy successfully for a number of years. Finally, we don't have good coordination between different levels of government, particularly between municipal government, provincial government. All sorts of disconnects there. Poor investment levels in green tech and a slow rollout of green tech. A lack of real investment in the creative industries, particularly film, television, gaming, the arts. I was on the board of Alberta Ballet for a number of years, and it was a real struggle to just simply survive for a terrific company that was doing remarkably new and innovative things. And then we have all the demographics I talked about, and a lack of investment in our healthcare and social services. So when you put all these elements together, we have a problem here in terms of growing our economy because we're not as competitive as we could be. So what are the consequences of all this? Well, Some of them are reasonably obvious. We're not growing as fast as we could from an economic point of view. We're doing better than some other places like Britain right now. But we have a trajectory that doesn't look very promising, so we have a problem. We can't find the talent we need, and we're not winning in the global war for talent. And that leads to another big issue, and a kind of complex issue. We have a set of issues around equity, inclusion, and social justice. And I think if you're indigenous in this country, if you're a marginalized group in this country, if you're a new immigrant to this country, particularly from Muslim countries, you understand that we have some real issues around social justice, inclusion, and equity here. And I think what this leads to is our companies and our organizations are losing the ability to have what's known as first mover advantage. That is, being able to move quickly and competitively into new opportunities in new spaces. We don't have the capital, we don't have the skill sets, and we don't have the innovation capacity to shift into a new situation quickly. And so I think we're also, and that all leads to us being sidelined in the geopolitical chess game. So if you look at the New World Order, kind of how we're dealing with the war in Ukraine and how NATO is being realigned, Canada has played a kind of important role, but it's not centre stage. We don't run the game. We are also rounds in that game. And all of this is made much more complex by the demographic issues I raised before, which is, an aging population with an increased diverse population, smaller households, more dependent citizens on the fewer people in the workplace. So I think we have all of these kind of problems. So what can we do about them? Well, there's 5 key things that I think we should think about that relate to this course. One is a focus on growing value added in key industry sectors. We can't do it everywhere, but we could do it in agriculture, we could do it in IT, we could do it in green tech, and we could do it in advanced manufacturing. We may also be able to do it in pharmaceuticals. So, how do we grow the value added in a key sector? Second thing, we need to reimagine how we create the skill sets we need. Our current model of go to school, go to college or university, get a job, doesn't work anymore. In fact, it's so serious a problem that companies have to make hard decisions about where to locate on the basis of available skill sets. So we need a new way of thinking about on-demand skill development, short micro-credentials that give us the skills we need for upskilling and reskilling. We need to find new ways of stimulating growth of companies so that we're not stuck in this 97% of firms being small. We know how to grow a company from small to medium and medium to large. We have to get that pathway smarter, better, faster. We need to rethink the whole of our innovation system. I drew attention to 2 blog posts from my colleague and friend Alex Usher in my initial introductory note. Look right at the bottom, there's some suggested links there. He's pointing out that Canada's innovation strategy for the last 20-25 years, and I was involved in some of the development of that strategy, has not worked. And we said it wouldn't. We pointed out that government money is not the same as private money and that private money drives commercialization, but nobody listened. And then we need to get good at something Canada can do, which is collaborate, build alliances and partner with others. We need to get outstanding at that, not just on some things, but on everything that we do. We need to become the nation known for outstanding collaborations that produce results and have impact. Now, Canada clearly has enormous potential, but we need to be more competitive to leverage that potential. This is a quote from Mark Carney. At the time he was Bank of Canada governor. He was then Bank of England governor and is now an agent for the United Nations and the Green Climate Initiative. So Mark Carney knows what he's talking about, and this is a quote from him. Study it. could be useful to you. Thanks very much for listening. I hope that's been helpful.